My name is Bryson McGuire, and I currently serve as a professional educator, both at the secondary and post-secondary level. So one common habit that I believe that gets in the way of healthy communication is this idea of having both a double edge of both speaking and listening. One thing that I've noticed is that when people usually communicate, they usually only communicate by speaking, but they regret to listen. And I believe that that is a huge barrier to communication when you communicate by solely dialogue, but not actually hearing what the other person is actually saying. I truly believe that it's not what you say, but how you say it. So, in that, I do believe that no matter how much I can try to relay a specific message across, sometimes what I say, depending upon how I say it, will be presented in a negative connotation. So, a lot of times, you always want to be extremely careful, not only what you say, because although your words may be tried to, may be seasoned with salt, essentially, it's not what you say, but how you say it. My thought process, I always am very hesitant when I communicate with others because I understand that we all come from different backgrounds, that this world is constantly changing. We live in a very diverse culture, and as it is 2018, you just can't say any and everything to everybody and not expect some type of response back. So my thought process is always to be very hesitant, to be very careful when I communicate with others, because I understand everybody doesn't think like me. Everybody does not process information like me. Everyone does not communicate like me. But it's for me to try my best not to always speak to be heard, but try to speak to be understood. So certainly a healthy thought process would mean that you go into every situation, go into every communication, every conversation that you have with the individual with a clear and open mind. A lot of times when we go in to communicate, we already have a response. We already know what we're going to say. We already know how we're going to approach the situation. But conversation and dialogue can change like that. So it's really, really important, number one, that you go in with an open and clear thought process, go in with that open and clear mind to where you will not only be able to speak your answers, be able to speak through communication, but be also to also hear what the other individual is saying. 'Communicating to Grow is an excellent book. I've read it, and as I have read it, I was applying it to my own life and trying to live it. Now, that's easier said than done. However, there was one quote that I looked at specifically, and it said, "In the absence of knowing what someone is feeling, try empathy." Now, there is a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy says, "I understand." Empathy says, "I feel you." So one thing that you really, really want to try to do when you are trying your best to communicate to grow and trying to further your communication with others is try to be empathetic. Again, that's not saying, "Hey, I understand everything that you are saying, but I'm trying my best to feel what you are saying. I'm trying my best to be able to feel where you are." And if we have that mindset when we communicate with others, understanding, comprehension will be natural for the individual. 3 points that I took away from the book. Number one is to be slow to speak and ever so ready to listen. And that is inherent when you are communicating with others, right? So many times we talk so much that we don't hear anything, right? We have one mouth and we have two ears, and we should do double the listening that we do with talking. Number two, how you say things matters just as much as what you say. So again, it is a lot of times I know that I'm one that talks a lot through body language. It communicates with my facial expressions, no matter how detrimental they may be. I have to understand that it's not always what I say, but how I deliver it. There's one quote in the book that I think that was dealing with a pizza analogy. And the pizza analogy essentially was saying you wouldn't want a pizza delivered upside down. So again, you always want to make sure that how you deliver what you say conveys just as much as meaning as what you say. And the third one, I really like this, and it said, accept the fact that what you say may not be what they hear. That was really stood out to me. Another point that I took from the book, because a lot of times I know I've been one to become frustrated when it seems like what I'm saying, the message that I'm attempting to convey does not actually speak for itself. So one thing that really teaches us is that we have to be patient with others when we are communicating with them. People are not mind readers. People are not fortune tellers. Well, none of the people that I deal with are. So what I have to understand is, one, the message that I'm conveying may not always be brought across that way. So again, it also teaches you to be patient with communication. Well, I personally serve in education, so I deal with my administration daily, I deal with parents daily, and Lord knows I deal with students daily. So if you are a public servant, meaning that you deal with the public often, you're in customer service, you are in sales, you need communicating to grow. Essentially, it teaches the individual how to have healthy communication. We deal with a lot of personalities on the job. We deal with a lot of personalities in our community. We meet different people from day to day. But essentially, if you find yourself, again, Joe Blow needs this book. Anybody that is just walking around that communicates from a day-to-day basis through human interaction, you need this book on what it means to have healthy communication, and not only what it means to have healthy communication, but how we can use healthy communication in order for self-growth.